Hello, guys. Welcome to Deep Topics.
Yeah.
I'm Azariah Easey.
And I'm Jeremiah Easey.
And you are watching the very first episode of Season 2. 'Tis the season to be grateful.
Yes. So today, as you saw in the list, the first one is gratitude.
That one up there.
And let's just start with the definition. What is gratitude? Gratitude is a quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and return kindness. An example is she expressed her gratitude to the committee for their support. And I found this online on a dictionary.
AKA Google's Oxford Languages. Anyway, also another word that has definition is grateful, which actually is rather
Common.
related to gratitude. In fact, quite related to gratitude. So grateful means feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness. Thankful. So the synonym of grateful is thankful. That's one way of using it. So I'm grateful for this hat to cover my hair. By the way, this is how my hair looks like when it's not made.
I'm thankful that he has hair, you know? Grateful and thankful, pretty much the same. It's an action. So what is gratitude? Gratitude is when you're thankful for the things in life. You are grateful. You're taking action.
You're not taking for granted what you have in your life. For example, I am grateful for this house that we live in.
And I'm grateful that squirrel is still on that tree.
In the same spot.
Incredible.
My goodness. By the way, in case you guys wanted to know, this is actually our third take.
Our third take.
Our third take on this, because the previous one was okay, but it was a little too cheesy.
And it had a ramble session. Now, we're going to go and dedicate some videos on
to
ramble
just
sessions.
rambling. And by the way, when you think of ramble session, think about logical
Conversations on the
ideas all of a
table.
sudden switching and not relating to each other, okay? It's just going to be rambling through.
You'll see more like tangents, and it'll be like a conversation that you would have with someone around a table. And that's one thing you could be grateful for. You could be grateful for people in your life. And that's one of the things, like, how do we practice this gratitude? One of the things that's mentioned is write a thank you note. Like, you know, show your gratitude to someone. Like, I'm thankful that my brother is here because he keeps me on my toes.
I do? How do I?
I don't know. You definitely add logic into the things I say.
Yes, I do add a lot of logic. By the way, INTJ.
ENFP.
There you go.
There you go.
Personality types. Whole different season, okay?
Whole different season.
We'll be talking about psychology. We'll just dedicate a whole season to psychology. And at some point, we're going to dedicate a whole season to technology. But that's besides the point. So,
what do you have on there?
All right,
Are we
so
seeing
first-
this in our these days or today lives? Like, are we seeing gratefulness and gratitude being manifested in?
you know, I don't really think we're seeing it as much as we should. In my opinion, one of the main problems that we have in society today is a lack of gratitude for simple things, really. There's a lack of gratitude. I mean, a lot of people, they take for granted telecommunications, really. Some people take for granted the fact that they can literally just call their friend on the phone and they're instantly connected with them if they pick up.
No.
Also, there's people who are not being so grateful for their country right now, especially here in the United States. It's kind of sad just seeing
The division.
There's so much division.
And that's the thing I don't get. I feel that people would be more grateful, and I think the world would be a happier place if we just not ignored our differences, but we, I guess, appreciate those differences that makes us all unique, and we just embrace all the differences in cultures. I really think that we'd be more grateful.
Yes.
A more grateful generation.
And by the way, for those Americans watching, the more ungrateful we become,
the more divided,
the more divided we are, and the less we are the United States of America, okay? If we want the United States of America to still be there, one thing that will surely keep us together throughout the existence of our country will involve being grateful for what we for our military, expressing our gratitude to our military leaders, and just
Grateful
being
for
supportive of each other.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make the United States of America
Great again.
great again and preserved. Anyway, we didn't mean to put politics in here. You're going to hear some political, especially during this season. Election day.
Yep.
By the way, don't forget to vote. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there right now. So,
Are there benefits to gratitude?
actually, yeah, there are benefits of gratitude. In fact, there was a whole study done on gratitude and its effect on well-being.
Give us a quick summary.
All right. So basically, we have two groups of people. All right. So we've got we got a control group, which they're basically not
Regular.
They're just regular people. They're just going to be there as an example. And then they have the treatment group, which is a special group where the actual experimentation is actually going to be happening. Most of the processing.
Regular experiments.
Now, you might be wanting to know the numbers, right? So in the treatment group, there's 47 people, and in the control group, there's 40 people. Basically, both groups, quote, completed a mental well-being assessment before and after the gratitude intervention of the treatment group. Now, notice it just said the treatment group because they never tried out the gratitude intervention technique on the control group, because most people, they don't try the gratitude intervention technique, at least in my opinion. I'm not a scientist yet, but I might be able to understand a little bit more about this. Anyway, for the treatment group, at the beginning of the course, participants were given assignments for 10 weekly gratitude reflection journals via the internet-based learning management system. The assignment was based on Emmons and McCullough's 2003 gratitude condition. The instructions provided, identical to Emmons and McCullough's, were these. There are many things in our lives, both large and small, that we might be grateful about. Think back over the past week and write down on the lines below up to 5 things in your life that you are grateful or thankful for. Now, let's stop here and let's actually become the treatment group. We're going to play a little game here. All right? So what we're going to do, you're going to start first. Try to list in, let me pull out my watch here. Try to list in 1 minute 5 things you are grateful for. Starting now.
Well, I'm grateful that I play musical instruments. Thankful for relationships. I'm thankful for you. That's all one. No, that's 2. I'm thankful for nature. It's really nice. Fall is my favorite time of the year, and I cherish this. Look, even the leaves are changing color. That's so cool.
Yep,
It's turning more of a yellow, not a red. What type of tree is this, anyways? I'm thankful for trees. I guess that's still part of nature, isn't it? Thankful to live in a house. Let's see. Is there anything else? That was 4, right?
I think maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's good enough.
Friends. I'm thankful for friends.
All right, there you go. So about 14 seconds.
Okay.
Right there. All
Your
right, so
turn.
my turn. Here we go, guys. All right, so what am I grateful for? I'm going to wait till the timer starts. All right, so here's what I'm grateful for. So I'm, first of all, grateful for my family. Without my family, I wouldn't even be here today. I'm grateful for life. At one point when I was younger, I actually got a bad case of pneumonia that was rather life-threatening. But here am I today. So I'm grateful for God's intervention there. I guess that's 2 and 3 mixed together, but we'll make a third one anyway. I'm also grateful for my neighborhood. This is a great neighborhood I live in. Of course, we're not going to mention where we're at, but it's a great neighborhood. I'm also thankful for technology. If it weren't for technology, I would not be learning how to program, and we wouldn't even be making this video. And finally, I'm thankful for. I'm grateful for this country. It's a really good country, and there's a lot of liberty that I have here, and I'm grateful for that.
And 1 minute and 1 second.
All right.
0.44.
So that was 5 there. So that was sort of easy, sort of difficult.
That's a way for you to practice gratitude. Really take the time to think and say, what am I grateful for? Even the Bible says, gives us advice as to how to be grateful. In Philippians 4:6-9, it says, "Be anxious for nothing." And boy, do we have anxiety today with social media and and all the bad news that's happening, right? But everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Now listen to this. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. I love when he says meditate. We usually meditate on things that are negative. Going back to social media, when we see someone who, like, oh, I wish I looked like that person. Oh, I wish I had more money. Oh, I wish I had a better house, a better job. I wish I was more popular.
Now, let's pause there real quick. Because I know there's some people out there who probably don't know what the word meditate is being used here. Because nowadays, some people consider meditation like yoga,
more spiritual in nature.
However, in this case, when this was written, meditate actually means to think through over and over, to think through, mull over.
To reflect on.
To reflect on. Yeah, so it's basically a mental thing you're thinking. I mean, I'm sure the current version of meditation does involve a little bit of mind, but according to some studies, you're actually losing it. But anyway, continue.
So basically, when it says meditate on these things, it's like think about, reflect on these things, ponder about it. And I think this is definitely a good point to note here. Like, you've heard the term garbage in, garbage out. If we put garbage in our brains, if we put negativity in our lives, whether it be relationships or whatever, we become more of a negative person. We become ungrateful. However, if we reflect on things that are noble, praiseworthy, if we think, and that's the reason why I enjoy watching animal videos, because especially the puppies and cats, they're so cute. And it really makes you grateful. Like, there's a creator who made this.
Yeah.
And especially when we saw the Northern Lights a couple days ago, it was really pretty.
Yeah, that's quite the big animal.
It was. Anyway,
An animal made out of nothing but energy, people.
So, how do we practice gratitude? Well, besides the Bible, there's on Google, I pretty much search it, everything, and it says, advice that Google gave, volunteer, journal, write thank you notes, and express gratitude. Tell people you are thankful for them in person or in a letter.
And actually, this is basically what the people in the treatment group of the study that was mentioned before were actually doing. So here were a few of the answers given. So some of them expressed gratitude for health and good health of their family and friends in the midst of COVID. Some were actually grateful to hear the birds chirping at sunrise. Others were grateful for their family, kind of like the way I express my gratefulness for my family. And some others were expressing their gratitude for their members who had contracted COVID-19 but actually recovered. And also some were grateful for the joy they could get from spending time with their children. And one even said they were very grateful that they had a negative result on their COVID test. Now, not wanting to burst your bubble, some COVID tests are not reliable the whole way, and it might be negative when you're positive. But that's neither here nor there.
And positive when you're negative.
And positive when you're negative. A false positive. Actually, there's a whole statistical measurement there, but we're not going to get in there. By the way, it's kind of interesting though, because this exact study actually used a lot of statistical tools. I actually had to take out some of the sample numbers because they actually used two sample numbers here. For example, for the treatment group, they use a sample number of 47 in order to represent the 47 people. So that's interesting. Study statistics, people. It's a fun thing. Anyway, so when they were running, okay, it can be fun after you understand it. let's just be honest. So, all right. They took the data they collected from those people, and they wrote a computer program using R, and they analyzed the data. And after analyzing the data for a bit, they actually discovered that the results showed that gratitude intervention, as it is called, gave a positive impact on those who practiced it. And that confirmed that one way to minimize the negative mental effects of a crisis, as mentioned in the paper, is to practice gratitude intervention, which is actually a form of positive psychology. Now, we could spend probably a full hour talking about the science of gratitude and the science of the brain, but that's neither here nor there. That's for another season.
And I'm pretty sure last in the list, I put it somewhere here. It's going to be in the way bottom or maybe next episode. Anyways, what can we learn from what we have talked about?
Well,
in this
I'm going to answer your question with a question. If there's a benefit to being grateful, why are we not seeing it more of it? And why are we not seeing more of it throughout? And why aren't there many people practicing it? That's the real question. Why do people not practice gratefulness as much nowadays? I mean,
because of social media.
That's actually, it's funny you're saying that, because there is a tendency when you're on social media. By the way, just to put it out here, this is basically the only form of social media we have. YouTube. This is the only form. We don't have Facebook. Well, I mean, I use Facebook because I'm a media director for my church, but that's besides the point.
You know what? Here's a good example. I should probably take it down, but I was on Instagram, and I noticed that the way of how I was behaving was really negative, and I was becoming ungrateful because I was comparing myself to others, comparing my cello playing abilities to other people. Like, oh, I guess I'm not a good musician. I became ungrateful. But when I took social media out of my life, hey, I'm pretty happy. Yeah. So I guess that's the first step.
Yeah, because
just get rid of negative influences in your life.
And really, I mean, even if you
stop comparing yourself to others. Yeah,
stop comparing yourself to other people. Because here's the real thing. People, I think there's this big trend, and it's a dangerous trend, where people are actually being more self-centered, and they have this self-centered, toxic thinking mindset that runs through their mind over and over again. And I'll say I'm actually a bit guilty of this myself, even though I'm not a social media.
We all are.
Everyone is. But basically, because we have that desire to just one up, to just get that latest fad, to basically get to the position that a particular media influencer is at. Because we have that desire, we have this toxic thinking, and we're just unhappy, and which is actually one of the reasons why suicide rates go up. Actually, it's funny. I don't have this in my notes, but there was this study that was done on gratitude and how it actually lowered suicide rates to those who were exposed to bullies.
Interesting.
It was interesting. I wasn't able to access the full paper because we had to pay it. By the way, whoever's holding that paper hostage, let it go.
Yes.
But basically, but again, the point being, there's a lot of benefits to be. Even gratitude can prevent you from, actually can lower the risk of you being suicidal, which I think is amazing, because because gratitude gives positive vibes, you know?
Yeah.
That's one thing that gratitude can do. So, yeah.
Well, what have we learned so far? We learned about the definition of gratitude, what it is, how to be grateful, some of the benefits of being grateful, and
we even showed studies on how gratefulness can actually improve our well-being, and we learned that it can improve our well-being, as it should, because if we are grateful, actually, isn't there, for some reason this is ringing bells, I really think there's a verse somewhere in the Bible that actually talks about gratefulness.
A merry heart uses the word good like medicine.
There you go.
But a broken spirit dries the bones.
Yeah.
That is Proverbs 15:13. A happy heart makes a face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit.
Yeah.
The discerning heart seeks knowledge, but a mouth of a fool feeds on folly.
Well, we're obviously searching knowledge, so I guess we're not foolish mouths yet.
Wait for the ramble sessions, people.
Oh boy!
And this is technically more of a ramble session, but
unfortunately,
we hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm Jeremiah Easey,
and I'm Azariah Easey. Remember to be grateful, and you've been listening to
Deep Topics.